Lali-Ho League, it's the Swiss round. Lali-Ho League, it's the Swiss round. Lali-Ho League, it's the Swiss round. SuperNinTaylor, microKorgs.
We will never be able to have a better opening than that. Welcome, everyone, to LaliHo League. Not after dark. This is early morning LaliHo League for those of us here in America. My name's Vitasia. I'm joined today by Sheep Launcher, and we have a fantastic race, SuperNinTaylor versus microKorgs.
Yeah, these are two veteran runners. We should have a wonderful race to get your Saturday morning started off right. SuperNinTaylor, we last saw him in Free Enterprise in the Fabul Gauntlet tournament, Swiss rounds. microKorgs made it to the Magma route of the last tournament, the Highway to the Threemas Zone. Both runners have lots of tournament experience and are wanting to take that next step. It's the first match of the Swiss round. A win would definitely help them.
Oh, absolutely. We have some fantastic objectives here as well. Of course, we have the three static objectives: complete Cave Magnus, forge the sword, and trade away the Pinktail. And then it gets a little bit spicy, doesn't it? Defeat Val and get the worst old man, Tella.
Yeah, Tella really got his image rehabilitated during our last tournament, the Threemas Zone. In this tournament, since Fu is available, he's a little bit superfluous, but you've got to complete 4 of these 5 objectives, so getting Tella will be on the menu.
Absolutely. 4 of the 5 have to be completed. And, you know, the static objectives are there because they take quite a bit of time or require 2 key items. The boss hunt or character hunts have added just a different kind of seasoning to, you know, compared to what we were in for Highway to the Threemas Zone. So we've seen how just subtle changes in the flags really change everything about how you plan for Zeromus, how you develop your team going into Zeromus. This has just been a fantastic start to the tournament and a starting opening week. Really looking forward to see how these 2 runners attack these flags.
Very much so, and their starting character is a Yang, who is a very interesting character to start with. Can get really beefy, but take some time and levels and care to get him there.
My favorite thing about Yang is his elemental claws, being able to still do the physical damage with the elemental associated with it. I think Yang's an MVP, and in my race last night, I doubled up on him, and he was great. Different people have different opinions on him. He does have quite a huge HP pool once you get him up to that point, but you're right, he does take quite a few levels to get him to the point of consistent usefulness.
Yeah, so our runners will probably be looking for some other characters to help him along, at least in the early game, while he develops into that punch mage that we know and love. Of those objectives, that defeating Valvalis could be very, very interesting if Valvalis shows up in a really rude spot.
It's true. Val is one of those characters that, depending on your party composition, can really put a wrench on a lot of things, and depending on location, if Val's in, for example, a very fast location, say at the Evil Wall location or on your way underground at the Rubicante spot, both can be really, really difficult. Not to mention all the little nooks and crannies and dead ends that Val can hide in. I mean, the dream is, of course, putting Val in the Giant of Babel, which, of course, chat's rooting for, but you know, our runners are hoping against.
We are underway in the first Swiss round. The Leviathan gives Sid and Yang a spoon to start off with. That's our second character we were talking about to help Yang along in the early game. This should be a very speedy early game.
I really like Sid in these particular flag sets for early game. You're automatically given, in addition to the normal pack of items that you normally get, given the Dwarven pack, which allows you to have the Dwarf Axe, a Wizard Hat, a Wizard Robe, and 10 Rune Rings. Now that Dwarf Axe is just fantastic. It's an immediate weapon upgrade for Sid, right off the bat, but also it allows you to back row glitch him right away, which makes him probably the only character that starts off a little bit better than when you get him.
And that spoon, it puts Edward in play, certainly makes Edge even more valuable if you can find him. microKorgs heading into Baron finds Cure 2s, and Thor rages in that Baron shop, a nice shop to start off with. SuperNinTaylor heading up to Damsian to loot out there.
Both great locations. All the treasure chests are open. You can get some decent items here. Oh, hello. That is a rude spot for a Golbez. Oh.
Only 400 HP in that spot, but Golbez is going to insist upon himself, listen to his jokes, and take down your party members until you only have 2 left. A really rough spot, especially since there's another hard boss right behind it.
See, you guys see, a key item check and 2 bosses there. I see 2 brothers just trying to have a nice brunch out, honestly.
Yeah, they're sharing mimosas, I'm sure, in the cafe on this Saturday morning.
I can't think of a better thing to do on a Saturday morning than go out and have some mimosas with my brother, honestly.
Taylor found a sparkle in the waterfall. Didn't get a chance to see which sparkle. microKorgs, meanwhile, finds another sparkle in the mist cave. That's an Ogopogo. Those are 2 rude bosses out of the pool right away.
That's actually really nice to see, that 2 of those rude bosses are just immediately done. Yeah. Ogopogo, knowing that we'll never have to see that gate anything at this point. That's great news, actually. It's kind of a load off my mind.
Korgs finds a Poison Claw deep in Mist Village. Certainly has its uses.
Yeah, you said Poison Claw, right?
I did.
Okay. Yeah, Poison Claw plus 3 strength for Yang. So it's one of those strength-enhancing items that really is what you want Yang to be able to do even more damage, especially early game. Fantastic pickup for him.
Taylor finds Old Man Tella just meditating on top of the mountain with Yang, and the Karate Man decides to take us on. But Taylor will take care of Karate Man fairly easily and get the Tella, get 1 objective in the books.
Ooh, I do see a crystal ring as well. Glad that, so we got double Poison Claw. Charm Claw was what Yang started with, which is, I don't use this lately, is about the worst weapon that Yang can equip. It hurts his hit rate. It's only really useful for things like Mad Ogres. It's in the vanilla game, it's given to you late enough that you think it's an upgrade, but maybe not so much. I had to refresh.
So that.
All right, so we now see Korgs also on his Yang fight, taking a different tack. Let's see. It's interesting that both Sids immediately go to using the bow instead of switching over to that dwarf axe. I didn't see what bow or arrows we picked up, but it's doing a decent damage.
There was an elven bow I saw. I think Korgs equipped it onto Sid. Elven bow is a nice bow, gets some nice strength stats on there. So one of the better bows you can equip.
We see Korgs also going over here to loot the other side. One of the nice things that Tella really enables if you have him early in the party, obviously he's a required character at least to get him, but microKorg showing us, we have exit, immediate access to exit, and some of these early checks, you can dive a lot deeper and get a lot more treasure chests. It's just inefficient to have to walk back out. We see that often in the Watery Pass, for example. Being able to have a Tella and just exit out immediately to the start really allows you to do some more efficient looting that you're not normally able to do.
Yeah, an early Tella obviously gets fully upgraded once you climb up ordeals, but even before that, early Tella has his uses because he starts with exit and he starts with blink. So a really troublesome uh, physical heavy boss early on, you can have Tella to help out with that. Tella is just an all-around decent utility character, especially early.
Yeah, he doesn't have quite the glow up that he had in the last tournament, in part because, one of the things that enabled him to be very, very good in the last tournament was the D Machine grind, which was available in the Giant Babel. Even at low levels, as long as you've done down ordeals, Tella has access to the weak spell, which really enabled quite a bit of grind at that point in time. However, in this tournament, in the Lali-Ho League, what we're seeing is that if you enter the Giant of Babel, you're required to full clear it. You cannot back out of it as you could before. And that has really dissuaded a lot of people from doing any sort of D Machine grind. Thus, Tella's viability has really taken a hit quite a bit from the last tournament.
Yeah, and especially in the Swiss rounds, Sirens are pretty readily available, so we're seeing a lot of runners go with one of the Siren grinds available to them rather than the D Machine grind. microKorgs takes down Dark Elf in the Antlion Cave and gets a hook.
This is where things get a little bit spicy. Hook is something that we need for the Pinktail, and it may be required for our access to the underground anyway. So the question becomes, how early do you dive? We still have 3 checks. We have, Defend Fabul. We have minimum also ordeals and that check in the Baron Inn. How soon do you pull the trigger and start diving that hook route?
Yeah, the standard play, I would say, is to kind of full clear the overworld before committing yourself to the hook route. Especially with this party, a hook route would be a little bit of a slog still. There are worse parties definitely to take on a hook route with, but we'll see if Korgs and Taylor decide to see what else is available, at least on this side of the blue planet. Korgs checks out the waterfall and finds Plague there taking a shower. Not the sparkle you want to see there, but still, Plague can be really rude in some super fast spots, and that's something off our runners' minds.
So we've already seen Plague, Ogopogo, and have we seen? Was it Pale Doom that we saw?
That was Dark Elf in the Antlion.
Right. Okay. So I was getting a little bit concerned. So many moon bosses. Yeah.
Doing his best Pale Dim impression. There's another dwarf accent in Cave Evelyn.
Now, I really, really like this play by microKorgs. In part, okay, we have some coffins that are available in the Cave Evelyn shop. One, this is a locked shop, so you can typically get some better items that are located here. Also, you get a character check at the end of the Cave Evelyn. And right now, Jan, Sid, and Tella are nice, but you don't quite have the firepower to get through the Golbez fight and whatever could possibly be a little bit further. So getting this character and getting it early, I really like in order to get whoever it may be some extra levels and prep them to really dive in. The only concern I have is, this is also a great place to get some treasure. If we have an hourglass or something else to try to get through what would be a 2 Staleman fight, this would be a great place to pick up some nice loot as well.
Taylor defends Fabul from Odin attacking it, gets the Legend Sword.
1/2 required, and hello, double Tella. I don't like this. I don't like this one bit.
That's an Octoman at the Rubicante spot in the hook route. Octoman hits hard and goes fast, at least to start. Our runner, I don't think Korgs is in any hurry to dive past this spot. Now he has 2 Tellas that can cast Exit.
Worth noting, it doesn't come up terribly often, but just because Get Tella is objective 5, this doesn't count as 2 objectives. It's just 1. We've already completed it. Doesn't count.
Yeah, you can't double dip that.
I see dissatisfied in chat saying triple Tella, let's go. No, No, no. Newspaper to you, no.
There was one race in Threema Zone where Triple Tella was the Galaxy Brain play that got that runner a win. It's always fun to see.
Stardust Rod, Heroin Robe. Like I said, some great items are available in this particular dive. Poison Claw, Middle Sword. I mean, at very least, the Stardust Rod will mean Tella will have a free MP just nuke that he's available to kind of sweep through lower level enemies.
Yeah, that'll be very useful for that Ordeals climb that pretty much is on the table for both of our runners, you think. And Taylor's going to take on that Golbez, who's just, having a brotherly chat.
I would be a little bit annoyed if someone interrupted me and my brother during brunch.
Well, if all my brother was saying to me is that it? I might welcome the interruption.
Wait till you see the real terror. Yeah, that's not exactly like conversation you have over, biscuits and gravy.
Yeah, I've seen your student loan debts. I know the real terror.
Heyo! Meanwhile, Korgs did reset out of the stalemate fight and making efficient work, which means he's going to full clear the rest of it. So Tella didn't die. Instead, Yang died. This will be interesting. I really think that his Sid will be able to do it pretty quickly. But it is a reasonably high magic spot, as I recall. Yeah, one-shotting.
Yeah, that Yang, a 2200 lit 3. Rip there. That Yang is the fastest character I think Taylor has going right now. So couldn't get any turns off on that Golbez.
So it looks like, Korgs is actually going to go over here and do Mount Ordeals, which it has a couple advantages going for it right now. One, we have two Tellas that we would love to be able to get them online to be able to do a little bit more than what we're doing right now with them. Two, there's 3 bosses here, and we're still in a bit of a boss hunt for that Velvalis, as well as for, a Demas that is kind of always part of the boss hunt. Worth noting, though, if Velvalis is up on the way to Mount Ordeals, we know for sure whatever is behind Velvalis is not our intended way to the underground. So there might be a Magma Key up here as well, but it's not the intended way for us to go because neither Golbez nor Velvalis can lock our intended way into the underground.
Very true. Taylor, taking on this Golbez fight again, put the curse ring on Tella, put his battle speed down to 5, trying to outspeed Tella at this spot. But as Blaze pointing out in the chat, it's tricky to anchor here.
It's a little bit difficult, yeah. I mean, with the levels that we have presently, and we just don't have a whole lot of gear to manipulate things. We have a French vanilla Mylan Z, by the way.
He moved to the other side of the bridge, wants to see the view from over here. He's telling us to fall flat in the deep ravine when we haven't even seen the deep ravine yet, so...
Question in chat from Golden Kitties. These can't be the Magma Key because we already have the hook. No, actually it can. It's just that the intended route will be the hook route. So if the Magma Key is behind either of these because we've already got the hook, then, I mean, our intended route is still using the hook.
Yeah, if Velvalis were up on Ordeals, the key item could be anything. We have a way underground. Basically, the unsafe flag means Velvalis, Golbez, and Wyvern can't guard your only way underground. Well, we already have a way underground that wasn't guarded by any of those, so the Magma Key could be anywhere.
And this isn't Mount Ordeals, it's the Mountain of the Four Fiends of Elements. Mylan Z followed immediately by Kanyazo.
Really?
Maybe Val 3? Mm-hmm.
Could be. Kainatsu in a back attack means he's going to get those waves off. Not huge HP at this spot, but Korgs needs to work fast. And that Stardust Rod already coming in handy.
I mean, we knew that from the get-go, that the Stardust Rod was going to be helpful. Just because Tella's MP pool is so low, having something that he can do for free and still do decent damage, fantastic.
Korgs gets Kainatsu hiding behind the shell. Needs to just do a little bit more damage to take care of this turtle.
And there we go. So, 2 4 fiends down. Let's see what we got.
A very nice fight by Korgs there. Gonna watch the turtle fall off the bridge. Hopefully into some water, because I heard turtles like water.
I like turtles.
Kainatsu going headfirst off that bridge. I give him a 9 on that dive.
Didn't quite nail the landing like we wanted him to.
No.
Meanwhile, SuperNinTaylor gets the bad news. Double Tella.
Our restreamer Scholar Kitty asking in chat if Kainatsu is mutant. With those biceps, I think Kainatsu is definitely on some juice of some kind, and that's an adamant on Korgs' side. So the forge is available.
Only neither runner has it. It's still the 4 fiends. It's just not the one we're looking for.
All the 4 fiends are hiding on ordeals, leading us on a wild goose chase, and Valvalis is still at large. It's almost as if they coordinated that.
You know what? I think 3 of them had a party and decided that they weren't going to invite Val because, you know, she's just so hard to get to know. And, you know, she gets into her tornado and then doesn't want to have any conversations with it. You don't want to invite people to a party who just close themselves off like that.
Yeah, when you got to jump through that many hoops just to get to know her, that's not always the best. So Korgs gets his 2 Tellas to glow up a bit, and we'll see where he heads off to next. He's got still needs to do Fabul, still needs to do Baron In, knows the Octomam at the hook route.
So at this point, the Legend Sword is defending Fabul, and the Adamant is on Mount Ordeals. Wait, or was the sword elsewhere?
No, the sword was Fabul.
Sword was Fabul? Okay.
Korg's gonna head in and have his own little chat with the chatty guy himself, Goldes.
How important is that Cecil right now? I mean, Cecil is not going to necessarily help you get to the underground, but once you get there, you can immediately forge if you happen to have everything and get an Excalibur. And he is not an agility anchor. Cecil might have the biggest glow up this tournament compared to the last tournament.
Very much so. Cecil is no longer your required agility anchor. Your character that matters for agility is always going to be the one you put in the center slot. So, and Korgs already has gone up ordeals. The Paladin will be useful right away. Slap that Elven Bow on the Paladin or even a Dwarf Axe, and he can start getting damage off right away.
This is really a heads-up play over here by microKorgs, by the way. Notice how he used Small and Pig on 2 of his characters that he wanted to survive. Using another status effect on characters actually prevents the the hold gas from actually taking effect, so that you can still queue up some things prior to Golbez starting to nuke your entire party. It's a very heads-up play to allow you to kind of set up the rest of the Golbez fight much easier than if you just kind of let things go like you see over on SuperNinTaylor's side.
And Korgs takes care of Golbez with the firebomb and gets through Golbez on his first try.
And hello, we're greeted with I think Tella's going to die immediately here. Oh, got the Cure 2 off.
That was the clutch Cure 2. This spot, not the fastest by any means.
It's not. It's a little bit difficult though. CPU is one of those fights that is going to be an interesting fight because it does only HP percentage base damage. Those Mazers do 10% of your total health every time, or 10% of your max health. So, you know, depending on where you get it, it's a very doable fight, but it's always going to be a bit of a long fight.
Taylor, meanwhile, drops to Golbez again. Gonna try, hopefully, the fourth time's a charm here.
Yeah, this is turning into the inflection point of this seed. 4 times on Golbez, and microKorgs, because he knew how to manipulate things properly, what it done. This will come back. SuperNinTaylor, I think at this point, knows he's a little bit behind in the straight line race. It'll be interesting to see how this affects his decision-making and his routing later in the game if he makes some low-percentage gambles, knowing that he has to catch up a bit.
Speaking of gambles, Korgs berserks that Sid.
That's risky.
Oh, and you see why it's risky. Both the attacker and defender now gone. The CPU is free to Globe 199 if it gets a turn up. Didn't do quite enough damage there.
Yeah, this is going to be tight. There's the Globe 199s. Yep, Sid's going to go take a nap.
Ooh. Having 1 or 2 of your party members down at the end isn't the worst thing. There's no experience at this spot, but you need them up to do damage to this CPU.
And that CPU does not want Sid alive. We got a life up, and he immediately killed him again with the second Globe 199.
CPU knows where the real threat is coming from.
Luckily for us, there's no experience in this particular, so you just need to get through it. That Stardust Rod does finally kill it for us. Luca Key, meanwhile.
Very interesting. It's a check that nobody in particular likes to do, but you get to peek the key item. But in this case, we still have 2 bosses at large, so any Luca Key check, as things stand now, would definitely involve that boss check as well.
So microKorgs up to this point in time has faded Fabul, which is one of those things that different runners have different opinions about it. If you can manage to fade Fabul, looks like he's going to go ahead and do Fabul defend. If you fade it while finding the pan early, sometimes runners will try to triple dip this so you can kind of knock out all 3 at once. However, at this point, it appears as though he's conceded that, okay, we're going to go ahead and do this for now. Maybe I'll get a double dip, maybe I won't. But let's go ahead and give it a shot, at least.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the meta kind of evolves on fading Fabul. I'm of the opinion that there are so many checks you need to make in this flag set anyway that maybe fading Fabul, that particular juice isn't worth the squeeze.
It's interesting when you can do it. It's not always worth it, though. I think most runners, I mean, when you can, it's a fantastic play, but it's also difficult to justify when Fabul, especially defending Fabul, is one of your only 4 checks in the start of the game.
Taylor gets through that Golbez, will be faced with the bad news of the CPU on the back end with only one character still alive.
Now this will be doable. He'll have to take some time to get the rest of his party up, I think. The problem is that those Mazers are going to do 36 damage and 34 damage respectively to the two Tellas, and a single life potion is not going to get them to that point.
No, and the Tellas only know Cure 2, so it's not like they can do a quick infusion of a Cure 4 to get them set up quickly. It's going to take some time.
In the meantime, Korgs is on his Odin fight. We'll soon get the good news that he will be able to complete forging the sword as soon as he can get underground. So that'll be 2 objectives ready for him. The question is, you got to get underground, and our levels are still not doing terribly good.
Yeah, Evelyn shop at the only tier 5 shop we have open to us right now doesn't have sirens, so got to get some levels somehow. Evelyn Castle play might be in play here.
I would like Evelyn Castle. I think the only thing that I'm concerned about right now is we've not seen any hourglasses even opening one up, which tends to make those checks a little bit easier. Maybe some random encounters on Mount Ordeals, trying to get some levels there. It'll be interesting at this point moving forward to determine, because the boss is not. I don't remember what the boss was, but I don't think it was a freebie boss.
It was Octomam in the Rubicate spot.
Oof. No. I need a little bit more protection than that.
Yeah, some shopping might be in order, especially to get some gear for that Cecil and that Sid to help block some of those things. 2 Tellas that can apply Blink will be really helpful against that Octomam.
Cecil will as well. Keep in mind that as long as Cecil is back road, he will automatically cover anyone who comes up. So actually, this party can probably take care of Octomom at this point. Just keep Blink on Cecil. When people die, give him a life potion, and let him cover everyone while you slowly grind him down.
It will depend who's in that King Queen Evelyn spot, which can also be very spicy. Although the absolute rudest enemies at that spot, Kainatsu and Ogopogo, for my money, are already taken care of. Taylor gets through that CPU. We'll get his Cecil, and we'll get his Luca key.
So now both runners are pretty well at the same spot. We'll see. Yeah, microKorgs is just diving right in at this point.
Korgs is a check ahead of Taylor. Taylor hasn't done ordeals. Which I think would have to be an absolute necessity before diving that hook route. That Genie problem in chat says 4 Tellas is enough for a quartet, a barbershop quartet. Do it, Rockin' Tellas, which I'm officially upset that I didn't come up with that.
I don't know. It's really difficult to sing in a barbershop quartet voice when you're already voice is gone. Hey, you spoony bod. That just doesn't lend itself to very much vocalization.
Yeah, you have to imagine Tella after climbing up ordeals is short of breath anyway. So it's going to be really hard for the Basso to really hit that low C.
What is the question in chat? What does the 5 indicate below each runner's name? Those correspond to the objectives. Uh, Papa Chubi. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing your name, but those correspond to the 5 objectives that are in the center of the screen. They both have Tella, so they have both completed the 5th objective. You have to complete 4 of the 5 objectives to be awarded the crystal, which is ultimately what you use to make Zeromus, or whomever Zeromus shall be this time around, vulnerable.
microKorgs looting out Upper Babel hasn't found that Mad Ogre chest. Or if he did and reset out of it, I didn't see it. There it is.
There it is, yep.
Like you said, Vatasia, no hourglasses that we've seen, so Korg's going to use that middle Tella to try and size the Mad Ogres, and it's a race against time.
Now, it does look like, using size is great. Sid with that Elven Bow. Elven Bow does quite a bit of damage to any mage type. And Mad Ogres, I think there's all sorts of debate in the community because they're supposed to be mage ogres and not mad ogres, and all sorts of translation shenanigans have happened. But yeah, zerking up Sid and just letting him go ham on these ogres, and they will fall over very quickly.
Yep, and having Young and Cecil available to throw life potions on them, get a good chunk of experience. Korg's really in the catbird seat at this spot.
This will be important in terms of getting enough experience to be able to get through here. It's still going to be a bit of a challenge, but probably not as bad as when we started everything going through here. Lots of levels, 2 to 6, yep.
Very nicely done, and a ribbon is not a bad prize either. One of the mages would certainly appreciate that. Cecil would appreciate that, honestly.
Yeah, it's one of those nice items that kind of prevents all sorts of status ailments from ever getting you. Doesn't do a whole lot in terms of stats. It's great for magic defense as well. If you're most focused on damage output, there are better headpieces out there, but I'll take a ribbon. Sure, why not?
Especially on an early hook route, where safety is the order of the day, certainly a good thing. And before Korgs heads into this fight, want to give a shout out to our restreamer Scala Kitty and our tracker Hupfin. Thanks for everything you're doing behind the scenes, and thanks to Vatasia.
Oh, well, thank you, Sheep Launcher. And a big shout out to the entire Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise crew for putting on this tournament and everything that everyone is not a bad... That's not a bad spot for Pale Dim, all things said.
Well, take a picture, it'll last longer.
Apologies for everything, folks. We're in the process of getting everything rolling at this point in time.
Yep. Taylor, it looks like, took care of that. Kainatsu does a safety save before, because he knows that Wyvern could be in the final ordeal spot. Doesn't want to take that chance. So takes a smart safety save, will get the adamant, and will face down Rubicante.
Oh, SuperNinTaylor already struggling a little bit with the most difficult boss in all of Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise, the inventory boss.
Korgs got through that Pale Dim. Took some damage along the way, but Pale Dim goes down. Now is ready to face that Octomam and the 8 Tentacles of Terror.
And you get the free HP refill here. I don't believe this should be any problem for microKorgs, as long as you set things up properly. Your Cecil's back road, you're going to try to Zerk as many people as you can, except for Cecil. If Cecil enters a Berserk state, he will no longer start covering people. Because Octomom, all he does is swings. And he swings hard, and yes, he hits hard here, but a back road Cecil who automatically covers people, even if he one-shots those folks in the front row, he'll be able to bring him up with a life potion and then cover them from this point forward. So this is really going to be a pretty, I'm not going to say easy spot, but it's a cheesable spot if you know the mechanics.
Yeah, and Korgs has set himself up quite well. This is a really decent party to take on this Octomam with, and Octomam just slows down tremendously from the start of the fight to the end. So Korgs appears well on his way.
I do know that his first form, he gets hit 3 times and then he reverts. And then after that, it's every 2 hits, he'll lose an arm. And I believe that his ATB bar kind of internally resets every time he loses an arm. So being fast and kind of continually smacking him is really beneficial at that point in time. And once he's down to the 1 arm, yes, he still hits pretty hard, but he's moving so slow at that point in time that you should be able to get it down.
Yeah, Korgs getting gobs of damage off. Even Tella, between the 2 lit 3s, 10k worth of damage on that Octomom.
And who said 2 Tellas was worthless? Me. That was me. I said 2 Tellas was worthless.
Yeah, I was going to say, it wasn't me. Said 2 Tellas was worthless? Wasn't me.
And you thought I was the singing commentator. Sheesh, you're putting me to shame here.
Taylor ready to take on that hook wrap. Equips Cecil with that Legend Sword, Vatasia. Desperate times, desperate measures.
That's interesting. I mean, we have some better items that are available for Cecil. More so, what's worse, Octomom is actually strong against holy damage. They did that specifically to make him weak against darkness damage, which originally Cecil had a darkness sword to help out there. So Legend Sword is going to be about the worst thing that Cecil can equip when fighting Octomom.
Korgs, meanwhile, takes care of that squid. Squid crumbles away, and Korgs will have access to the underground at 40 minutes and change.
What do you think he's more excited for? Access to the underground or access to an Excalibur Cecil now?
No, Korgs is going to get ready. I'm sure some sirens are going to be on the table to get that Cecil some levels and make Excal Cecil go burr against the rest of the seed. And those are some flavor of guards in the Lugai spot. Thanks to Korgs for showing us that. Either the Baron Guards or the Kaipo Officer-Soldier fight.
So we've reached kind of the first choke point in this particular run. We're at 41 minutes, first runner into the underground. It's not a bad time for getting into the underground, but you don't feel ahead if you're first into the underground at 41 minutes. So it'll be interesting to see what both of these runners end up doing. It looks like we're starting off with a keyless tower check. That's unusual, I would say.
I unabashedly love to see it. You get to get rid of the Falcon right away. Korgs knows that the guards up top can be taken care of in some way. No hourglasses still, I don't believe, but he has two Tellas that can cast Size or Stop against them, or even Mute in a pinch. So Korgs knows he can take care of this, and I don't know if you know this about me, Vitasia, Keyless Tower always works 100% of the time, because I just forget the times when it doesn't.
I mean, I think that's the definition of confirmation bias. I could be wrong.
I confirm that I am biased.
I mean, it's not a bad play, but it's definitely a play that I think one makes when you think you are behind at this point in time. Because I mean, he went here before he even went and forged the sword for his Cecil. That tells me that he is trying to maximize his movement and like, hey, I don't want to fly to the other side of the underground just to come back here. So he's really trying to maximize his movement at this point in time. It's a good play, but I think it's a play that you make when out of desperation, almost.
It is the Kaipo officer-soldier fights up here. I think that particular knowledge really helps, because Korgs has to believe he doesn't need an Excal Cecil to take care of this particular fight, or if there's a tower key, doesn't need an Excal Cecil to take care of that either.
And I guess he did pick up some coffins there that were available in the Eblin shop, so he knew he was going to be able to get through this fairly quickly.
Yeah, took out the officer with that coffin, got a life glitch on. Very heads-up play from Korgs there, because the officer contains most of the experience of this fight, and once the officer is gone, the soldiers won't attack you. They'll just beat each other up.
I think there's some subtle mind games being played that if you don't have a leader, then all your rank and file folks are going to do is fight amongst themselves.
Just a rune axe from the top there.
I mean, that's technically one of the better weapons for Sid, right?
Technically. And Korgs did get some experience, so he's going to walk it down.
I'll walk it down. I'll walk it down. Walk it down. Walk it down. See?
The items found. He'll walk it down.
Are we saying he's going down, down, down to the burning underground of fire?
Taylor made it through that pale dim. Very nice. Gonna stare down this Octoman. Hopefully gonna go back and safety save. He does not want to face that pale dim again.
That's fair. Pale dim can be a little bit rude there, and you get an automatic HP refill whenever you're getting ready to fight this bison. Octomum, depending on how things are set up, and I just looked at his party. Is Cecil still in the front row for Taylor?
I did not see where specifically it's in. It would not surprise me.
Yeah, hasn't back row glitched to Cecil yet, and still a level 1 Cecil, so he only has 600 HP. With a legend sword, so he's doing almost no damage and is dead.
Korg's going to forge. The Coco shop has crystal rings and life staffs, I saw, plus white spears for sale. And a defense sword. So if Kane ever shows up, we know where to get stuff for him.
I suspect we're past that point, honestly, at this point. This is the difficult part, because there's no catch-up mechanic. Previously, in previous iterations of the Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise Randomizer, we had a catch-up mechanic in that if a party member was 5 levels below the average party level, they would get double experience and allow them to catch up and try to get more even with everyone within the party. That allowed a lot of slingshot strats that we saw for Rydia and Hallam and some other low-level characters that we started with. However, that mechanic has been disabled for this tournament, so you really have to be cognizant. If you take a character 47 minutes later into the seed when you already have a full party, they're going to be a little bit weaker than everyone else in your party because there's no catch-up that's available. You have to really be cognizant of your party as you're building it, and you don't switch people out too late because there's such a hefty penalty for that.
Korg's going to take a look what's in Dwarf Castle, and in the first spot, the Dark Imps, another eminently cheesable fight. Interesting to me that Korgs is taking on Dwarf Castle before checking for Sirens or other things. Maybe wants another character to replace one of those Tellas?
That's what I gotta think. You're still hunting for a more viable white mage who you don't need to pump up fully. You just need to get him to Cure 4, and then you're kind of good. Dark Imps, not bad. If you happen to have a coffin, yep, going to throw that one out there, which is fantastic. Life Glitch here as well, getting some extra XP.
Meanwhile, Taylor making his way through that Octoman fight a little bit more slowly than Korgs did. You could see how resistant Octoman is to that Legend Sword. I've seen Cecil do swings of 50 damage and 200 damage. Not much at all.
No, not at all. It's worth remembering that Octomom is strong against holy weapons. Unless you have a crystal sword that goes burr, it's really beneficial to trade off any holy weapons that you might have on Cecil or Kane to be able to do more damage to an Octomom in this particular spot.
Yeah. Same thing with the D-Mist, by the way. D-Mist also resistant to holy.
All right, so Korgs is through the 3 Dark Imps, which is fantastic. We'll see what character and then what boss is located here. And it is another Sparkle. Uh-oh.
It's either Wyvern or D-Lunars. And that's an Eddie. We got a spoon.
We do have a spoon. And he said, yeah, Spoonwood is better than Second Tella. Oh my, and it is a D-Lunar fight. Take a nap, Eddie.
Yeah, we don't need you yet. And, you know, it's he could have replaced Young or Sid with that Spoony Bard, but instead he doesn't want 2 Tellas to gang up against 1 Edward. So he's got to get rid of 1 Tella.
Ooh, okay, so D-Lunar was able to one-shot one of them, and the other one survived Excal Cecil, but does go down to a Cure 2. Not everyone is going to get that chunk of experience. Eddie is still going to be sitting at level 1. Whew.
But does make it through. And we'll slowly watch as the Red Hand of Doom mazes its way to the crystal.
It's a bit of a slow crawl, and this, like, that particular cutscene is why I always hesitate with this particular check, because it's so much dead time. Otherwise, it was 2 boss checks. We're still hunting for Valas, plus a key item, plus it helps kind of round out your party a little bit better. I like the check. And there's the pan.
That pays off. Pays off in spades with a spoon word, with 2 more key item checks, and which he'll use to make 3 key item checks. Korgs is sitting pretty right now.
Not even checking the free chest that's available in the Fey Mark. Says, nope, we're going to turn this in now.
So Korg's perfectly happy to play fetch. Meanwhile, Taylor makes it through that Octomam, and Taylor about 11 minutes behind Korgs and getting to the underground.
GG's SuperNinTaylor getting through that. Again, that was not an easy fight there. Octomam at Ruby is a notoriously difficult ask.
But he takes care of it in one go. It was very nicely done, SuperNinTaylor, showing the chops and despite his experience, still can't avoid that pitfall.
True story. When I was a young kid and the game first came out, there was a legend that if you grinded Rosa up to learn float there, you could just beat the game by floating over the pitfall track. And I did it and was totally disappointed that it didn't work.
Oh, I didn't know you beat the game by grinding to float there. I just learned you bring back Eris.
Yes, it will. It will bring back Eris before we even know who Eris is. All right, so just a nice ninja sword for a ninja that we've not seen anywhere in the game so far from Sylph, but we do have 2 turn-ins for Sheila here. So, I mean, this could be super interesting. A pass, nice, not thrilling, but nice.
And a Dragoon Helm, also not thrilling. So Sheila does give the pass, which is going to be useful down the road, but Korgs was hoping for fireworks, didn't quite get them there. Certainly not enough to reset out of. Korgs has some shopping left to do on the overworld, and you'd have to think Feymarch will be his next substantive stop.
You would think so. Hey, there's a Suba drop if we wanted to get some swag rocks on Tella. So yeah, we still need to do Feymarch. I'm interested because we haven't seen a whole lot of item shop checks in the underworld, which is where those sirens, which would be fantastic for a grind, would come from. So I'm interested to see what kind of shop checks we have there.
Yeah, Korgs did check the Dwarf Castle shop. Sirens weren't there. I think either 2s were there. So still has the Feymarch, still has Tomra to check. And Korgs might be in a shopping mood. He'll head down to Tomra and check that shop, maybe do a job dwarf check.
Job dwarf is a corrections officer, which is why he's guarding all the loot. Wait. Are we stealing from criminals in that place, then?
Or even worse, are there criminals locked up in those chests?
I don't want to even begin to consider the social implications of what is going on in Tomra now.
Yeah, there's some certainly constitutional violations going on in Tomra, it looks like. And Korg's gonna check that Luca cave.
I at least like to check. You know, we don't have the levels really to get through it right now, but what we do have at this point is the ability to at least check the key item, check the boss. And if it's nothing, you know, you're out a minute or 2 at the most.
Yeah, there are still several free bosses available on the table. If you check the key item, check the boss, and neither of them are anything you need, you know you never have to come back here again. Although, and this is kind of way out there, if it turns out that sirens aren't in this seed, could Korgs be losing some doors that he could use to grind down the road?
He might be. Doing a door grind is, I mean, it's not ideal, but it's doable. Looks like he's skipping doors at least for now. At least going to check the items.
Yeah.
Reset out if nothing is there, which is perfectly fine, but leaving as many doors as he can.
Yeah, most of those doors on the side don't lead to anything anyway. He's not even looting out Luca caves, so Depending on what other options are available to him, he might not need that many doors to do a full grind anyway.
The other thing that you want to take into account is door grinds become a whole lot better once you hit the 10 key items mark. So we're only at 6 right at the moment. Still plenty of checks to make. I'm worried that because we're starting to run out of key item locations that we can possibly do, I'm worried this is going to be something like the Darkness Crystal, and it's hard required.
Fantasia called Vanilla Darkness Crystal. Instead, it's a Baron Key. Can't really pick that up.
Yeah, that's real hard to be like, okay, let's give this a shot with a level 5 Edward. Oh, bonus round, though.
Did he ever... Is that an X-Cal Cecil doing only 700 against DMS? Because... that's that Holy Resistance coming in again.
Yeah, this has been the race of Holy Resistance, hasn't it?
Holy Resistance, Batman.
I know what you mean, Robin.
I mean, there's D-Mist in the Luca Cave and Octoman blocking our only path underground, Batman.
And of course, I mean, D-Mist is always going to be a rude spot. This isn't a bad spot for D-Mist. Moves fast, so gets through at least the mist phases pretty quickly. You don't want to do something like Zerk anyone because D-Mist. But it's not a bad spot, all things said.
Yeah, and those mist phases certainly give you the opportunity to do some quick healing or maybe get a cheeky blink off if somebody needs that. Get you a chance to slap some illusions on. So, yeah, certainly not the worst spot in the world for this.
Very similar to the Octomom fight. You know, if you have Cecil in the back row, and you're not trying to swing when it's in its mist phase, all it does is physical attacks. So a back row Cecil can cover you. It doesn't matter how hard it swings. Your back row Cecil can cover and kind of absorb quite a bit of damage as long as you're not trying to swing through those mists and doing the cold mist sweep.
Fantasia Taylor made an interesting play as he gets through Dwarf Castle. We'll get that key item. Taylor took on Eddie and ditched Sid.
You know, it's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see how it plays out.
Gonna see, must feel that a second Tella with the wide range of spells available is more useful to him than a Sid at this point. Sid can be very useful late on, especially as an anchor, but Taylor must feel like that Sid is not doing enough damage to kind of justify keeping him on for now.
So let's talk through this. So we had 3 of the 4 Fiends of Elements already up on Mount Ordeals. So in terms of bosses with significant elemental weaknesses, what's still out there? I mean, we have Luge, who has a lot of lightning resistances, but what other bosses out there have significant elemental resistances that would make Tella more, a better choice than, say, a Sid?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of any that are certainly cheesable by elementals. Nothing is coming to mind really. Because Odin's already been taken care of as well.
Odin's already been taken care of. When you look at the bosses that are not bosses, that don't have the boss bit, we've already had Dark Imps, we've already had Soldiers, we've already had Guards, I believe, haven't we?
No Baron Guards yet.
Okay.
The second Tella does have Berserk, does have Blink, does have Virus. Those could potentially be useful.
Yeah, I think Tella, Zerks, and Blinks are probably the only reason at this point in time because Sid is a low, like he's on the low end of the physical melee DPS at that point in time. He doesn't. Rune Axe, okay, if you can arty him up with bow and arrows, he can do some pretty significant damage at that point in time, but he just requires so much to get him really rolling. It becomes difficult to justify him. So yeah, if you're thinking you want to be able to berserk and we haven't seen any Bacchus wines, okay, I'll buy that. I'll buy that Mecha Link. Thank you.
Yep, and we haven't seen any Bacchus wines yet. Hourglass 2s in the Tomer shops. Nobody's checked the Feymark shops yet. And of course, nobody's been to the moon. So they might not be available either.
Why? We've been in the underground now for 20 minutes. Why have we not checked the Feymark shop? Like, the rule one that I was always taught, check your freebies. And it doesn't get much freer than that particular Feymark treasure chest check.
And in fact, Korgs is going to go chase that Baron key, it looks like.
When you take a gamble, you go ahead and do it. He's going to check the team list as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it also might be kind of playing 4D chess. Everyone checks the freebies, so you're trying to get an advantage and you're banking on it being worthless.
Rydia's mom just has a ribbon.
And the ribbon is not even worth the fanfare. Resets. Was that completely resetting out of, like, no more Baron Key?
I don't know. I thought he saved after it.
I know he saved before, but I don't know if he saved after. Okay, he saved after Luca. Okay. I had that.
Meanwhile, Taylor doing his pan check, going to get his pass, and a package in the Feymark. So at least it wasn't holding anything that our runners will be particularly interested in seeing.
Well, we've seen, the dream up to this point. There is a boss hidden behind that package in addition to a character check.
Don't tease me. Don't tease me.
I'm teasing you. Let's just dangle this right out there, see if we can get a hook. I mean, Val could be there, and we could find a white mage there, because we really haven't had a proper white mage yet.
That is true. A Rosa at that package spot would really give our runners something to chew on.
Yeah, package Val, as Scala Kitty is saying, ooh, that. I mean, we've already seen one race. I believe it was a race last night with Night 2, as I recall, that absolutely there was value behind package. So, hey, package might be the Lali-Ho League's meme for this one, and I am all for that.
Feymarch bosses Antlion and Dark Knight Cecil. Both are doable, maybe not at these levels, though.
I just realized. Thank you, chat, for calling me out, because I did spoil that. I apologize. So,
answer a question in chat. Baron Key was at the Luca Cave, at the Seal Cave. There was also a D-Mist back there that only gave a ribbon. Rydia's mom showing her support for the troops with a ribbon magnet. She just pawned it off on us, and Korgs did not want it. Korgs going to take on this Dark Knight. Just has to withstand 3 waves. With the Cure 3s he just picked up, that Cecil will certainly do so, and Korgs will be through.
Only Cecil surviving, so only Cecil will get this experience, but you know what? It's worth it at this point. Oh my god.
And that is required.
Not hard required, because but the problem is we don't have a pink tail yet, and we don't know where Val is. I mean, that's absolutely valued, though, at this point in time. You're beelining and going to do that.
Yep. Korgs not only knows he can be the hero of the people, but he knows Gabe Magnus is a good check anyway, because we have seen a few times, I believe, Patasia, Gabe Magnus holding another item that we need. So the harp sometimes is hard required, even though you technically only have to do 4 or 5 objectives. And considering we haven't seen a darkness crystal yet, the pink tail could be hiding out back here. There's a lot of value still in the Gabe Magnus that doesn't come just from completing the objective.
You're absolutely right. As a shout out to those folks, if this is your first time ever watching Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise, by the way, first of all, welcome to our wonderful community. Thank you for checking us out. Because this is a randomized speed run, we in the Free Enterprise community love to randomize stuff. And we thought, what else can we randomize in this game? And we looked at the song that Edward plays that, fairies apparently hate, and decided that can be better. So we randomized that song into, there are several hundred different songs at this point in time that are in that harp that are played through the harp, so you can recognize them, which is super cool. Big shout out to everyone in the community who curates this, but there's 242, according to Scala Kitty now, different songs that are out there.
Yep, and we will let Edward play us in on that harp. Do it, Eddie.
And is what is possibly the most appropriate fight, Water Hag, Edward's really theme boss at this point because it's so easy. And we are rewarded with just a strength ring.
But Cave Magnus, as always, is its own reward. That was from Final Fantasy III, I believe, the sailing theme. That sounded fantastic. Thanks to Calm Lamity for doing most of the harp arrangements that you hear on this. It certainly sounds great. Taylor, meanwhile, gets through that Dark Knight Cecil, gets his twin harp, and so hopefully we'll hear a reprise soon.
Absolutely. So, that gets through. Looks like we're checking item shops, maybe even the bed character.
Korg's going to brave the real final boss, the Kaipo Inn Lady. Illusions and Star Veils in the Kaipo shop. very useful.
That is a surprisingly powerful item shop in the overworld.
Yeah, both Illusions and Starveils are tier 4, I believe, which is the limit for overworld, but it's not often you find a couple of tier 4 items in the same shop. That it's in the middle of the desert makes it really annoying, but Korgs will be glad he stopped by.
Meanwhile, Korgs also shows us that if we get the Sand Ruby, we have a proper white mage available to us. A level 50 food just sitting there waiting for us.
Yep, and Korgs has certainly done enough bosses to have that food fully powered up.
That Sand Ruby is our key. If you want a proper white mage, that makes it super easy because you don't even have to do a ton of grinding. You've already been doing it. All right, so we're down to either defeating Vivalas or trading away the Pinktail. We have still not seen hide nor hair of this darkness crystal yet, have we?
We have not. We do still have the Baron checks. There are 2 key items behind that Baron key. There is that cheeky package boss, which Korgs did pick up that ribbon from Rydia's mom, but did not check that package character while he was there.
So yeah, diving into Baron at this point in time. So there are 2 key item checks total that are available here, as well as a character check. We know the first boss, that we haven't seen forever, but we know it's not Vivalas. And then there's, of course, the 2 bosses. One is on the King's throne. One is on Odin's throne, which is in the basement.
Yeah. Leviathan is in that first spot. We know it isn't Vivalas. I think you, Vitasia, would know if Vivalas were in that first spot. Just as a reminder, you need to complete 4 of these 5 objectives. Once you do that, you get the crystal, which you need to defeat the final boss, Zeromus. Both runners already have access to Zeromus with the pass, so if Vivalas is, say, sitting on the throne, both runners could go there immediately upon completion of that objective.
See, this is what I always find is the interesting part of these sort of randomized seeds. You have both a key item hunt, and you're just looking for the Pinktail, and you also have a boss hunt. Now, boss hunts can typically be very, very efficient in that if it's just a check, you go, check the boss. If it's not there, reset out, and keep moving on your way. They can be much more efficient than key item checks, which usually require you to not only full clear the boss, but also sit through fanfare, sometimes some extra cutscenes. So when routing this decision right here, what do? Do you key item hunt, which there's fewer chances but more checks, or do you do the boss hunt where you reset out? This becomes really interesting when you look at the different strategies that are available for the game.
Taylor going to take on the Water Hag at the harp spot. Maga Sisters on the throne.
So 3 sisters sharing a throne. This isn't Troya, but appreciate it, guys.
Big deal. Shakespeare did it. Just read King Lear, people. Come on.
Oh, it's not a king. It's 3 kids in a trench coat. I'll allow it, Jay Brun. I'll allow it. Meanwhile, our character, duplicate Sid, out there. You know what? I don't think we're going to take him.
Nope, already have a perfectly good Sid as an anchor. I'm fairly sure Korgs found a curse ring somewhere along the way. So doesn't need a base level Sid as an anchor. We'll say goodbye to him for now. And that was our first real scoop of vanilla besides I think real Real vanilla. I think that's the first one.
Yep, we had some French vanilla initially with Mylan Z up there on Mount Ordeals. Here is going to be our key item check. This, I think, is going to determine a lot of what the rest of this race goes through for microKorgs.
It's going to be huge. It's a rat tail.
hey, turn it in. Let's do it.
Let's just be legends, man. The seed is sending our runners hither and yon to accomplish everything. Korgs will pick up that hovercraft and check that rat tail, see what that is. I mean, could be a tower key. Could be more fetch quests.
Could be a tower key. It also, ironically, can give you the pink tail, which you immediately turn back in.
Or it could be a zonk.
Yeah, we don't know. This feels important, though. Tower key.
Go! Fetch! So, Korgs' keyless tower play doesn't work out, really. Has to trump back up the tower again.
SuperNinTaylor is making the play. Oh, he's just checking the character. He didn't check the boss. Just Iridia.
Just Iridia, especially without a slingshot mechanic, not useful at this stage.
No, absolutely not. Iridia is one of those characters that requires the most XP to really get them online. Learns her most powerful spell, Nuke, very, very late in her experience grind. And then on top of that, has about one of the worst HP curves that you get as you're leveling up.
Yeah, I haven't really even seen any summons that would even make her semi-useful. Either way, it's way too late for that.
Absolutely. You are 100% correct there. So, Korgs is going to knock on this door and say, hey guys, can you not blow up the dwarves? And, oh no, this is Wyvern. This is Wyvern.
It really is. This is Wyvern, and he's going to leave it on non-Wyvern standard time. This spot is slow. Gets it off.
That's a fantastic spot for Wyvern because it is so slow and the HP is so low. You can usually just swing and go and move on. But if he gets that off,
yeah, that those seconds between you hitting that input and that swing going off, at least my heart is certainly in my throat. But Korgs makes it look easy. And we'll make the long travail down the tower.
So at this point, we have Odin that we can still check. We have the Leviathan spot.
Antlion at Leviathan.
And that's it, isn't it?
Earth Crystal.
We haven't even done Earth. Wait, what?
Earth Crystal hasn't even shown up. This could be an Earth Crystal.
It could be a lot of things at this point, which is it's getting a little bit frustrating, I'm sure, for both of these runners. I mean, they haven't even... Okay, here's the question. If it's a Darkness Crystal, do you immediately go to the moon and start checking bosses?
With a stop in the moon shop, yes. I would. A Sand Ruby, Korgs knows that Fu is there.
He'd beelining at this point because, hey, that solves all of your white magic problems at this point.
Yeah. Better than Tella in every single way. He's going to tell Tella to hit the bricks. I got a new mop in the inventory.
Mop, 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 all day long. Mop, mop, mop when I sing this song. All right, so we now have Fu. Yeah, it's either Antlion or Odin at this point in time because, and I think at this point, it's going to be another fetch quest of some sort. There's going to be some. It's either a Darkness Crystal to send you up to the moon, or there's so many other things that are locked behind. We have gotten quite a few key items now that I'm looking at it. We're well over 10 key items.
Yes. unless it's and Korgs, I think, making the correct play here. We don't know what's at that Odin spot. It could be Valvalis, and he could be ready to go right now, regardless of what's sitting behind it.
And Nitsky is in chat asking a question. The package already checked. The package character has been checked, not the package boss. So Val could very well be sitting at that package boss, and frankly, that's what I'm rooting for.
Korg's getting his Fu online, getting the spells he wants in the most accessible spots. SuperNinTaylor taking on the Steam Mist in the Sealed Cave. Already got that Baron Key. Has everyone blinked up, which is a very good strategy to use against Steam Mist.
Chlorin asks a very good question in chat, and it's something that I think a lot of us who have been in the community take for granted. What does it mean when we say a character is anchoring? So in the original Final Fantasy IV game, because Cecil never left your party, what the programmers did was tie all of the enemies' speed to Cecil's speed. So the higher Cecil's agility comparative to everyone else, like the faster the enemies ended up getting. In order to get around this, because it's possible not to have Cecil in your party, it's been programmed. There's specific orders, but the basics is whoever is in the middle slot in your party, their agility will be used to base all of the enemy's agility and thus all of the enemy's speed. So if you have a character, by the end of the game, if you have a character with lower agility compared to the rest of your characters, the rest of your party will be significantly faster than the boss, whose speed is based on the middle character's agility. So in a long roundabout way, if you have someone who's intentionally slow at that spot, it helps speed everyone else up. Additionally, depending on some strats that you're using, especially for Zeromus, you want to get to certain breakpoints in the agility of that character in order to allow certain mechanics to happen. That all gets really in-depth in the game, and if you want to read up more about it, you should head over to our Discord, because we have newbies guides and all sorts of technical explanations for some really high-end strats that are available in this game, and they're all available out there. Feel free to ask the questions there. That is like the 2-second summary of agility, anchoring, and things like that. That is really the best that we can do without at a chalkboard and looking like Crazy Charlie showing up how things are connected.
Yeah, the TLDR version is the agility that your party has that determines the enemy's agility. That kind of shorthand wizardry is what we call anchoring. Korgs found Mom Bomb in the basement of Baron, only got a power shirt, walked it out. But we know that Antlion, you gotta be hiding something that is required.
People are saying the darkness is behind the Antlion. This is a kind of a hard required either way. It'll either be...
Unless Val is at package. Or in the Mega Sister spot, actually.
We haven't seen that spot as well, but I think in terms of, because we still have to be able to complete the seed, we
haven't passed.
Yeah, logically, I do think we need the Darkness Crystal at this point, at some point. Yeah. Now it could very well be. I mean, this could be the Earth Crystal that leads us to the Darkness Crystal, for example. True. But it's one of those two.
You know, logic was never my strong suit. I think you could tell that just from our time together, but yes, you are correct.
Well, it's okay. I mean, there's a lot of weird logic things in this particular game.
Feels like studying for the LSATs all over again. And that joke is for like 3 of you.
I got it. So this is interesting. Again, Cecil is set up to do work as a cover buddy. at this point in time. He's our key to survival. Back row Cecil, everyone else is weak.
Yep, and just count on Fu to nuke Antlion for all your damage. But yeah, the Korgs already made the walk down here, took the damage tile, so everybody's in critical HP. Just make sure Cecil is blinked and he's topped off on HP, and he will cover everybody, and just count on Fu to do that damage.
Cover strat Cecil is incredibly useful for a lot of bosses that are from the early part of the game. So the only real things they do are based on physical attacks that end up in late game spots that have high physical attack. Things like Octomom, Antlion, D-Mist, as we said earlier. Back row Cecil is fantastic at hard countering a lot of those fights, and you can do some great things there.
Yep, because although all Antlion does is hit, unless you do the fight command on it and then it counters, it hits hard in the Ashura spot, or sorry, the Leviathan spot, and having Cecil back there to soak up the damage, it's really invaluable.
Used an elixir on his food to get his MP back up. Took one hit to the face and said, nope, I'm back to being weak. Please protect me, Cecil.
So not a bad play there at all. Antlion deciding to go after Fu played right into microKorgs' hands there.
This is something that you gotta do if you're going to be in this Lali-Ho league and hope to make any sort of deep runs. Sometimes you have to fight a boss that you can't just run in, hold A, and power through everything. Sometimes you have to take some time, let only one or two characters do damage, focus on some niche strats here and there to get you through some harder boss locations. This is exactly the kind of stuff that I hope everyone is studying if you want to make it part of the tournament.
Jay Brun in chat pointing out microKorgs using Excalibur as an item because if you parry, if you defend with Cecil, he doesn't actually do those cover strats. So you got to do something, and in this case, using Excalibur as an item doesn't actually do anything. And there's the Darkness Crystal.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Now comes an interesting part of the race. Everything else, literally everything else, well, not everything. Here's the question, and again, I struggled with it. Do you just take the time to check all the bosses that are on the moon, and if there's a Val there, great, kill it, you're done? Or do you try to focus and be like, okay, I still need to hunt for a Val. Val could be hidden behind other key items as well. What do you do here?
Very true. That's the dilemma that microKorgs has to face. The Pinktail, for example, it's not as simple as do you face check bosses or do you go after bosses and just see what the key item is, because there are still rabbit holes to chase. That Earth Crystal could lead to Pinktail as well. So microKorgs, he can make that determination going in, or he can decide fight by fight whether he really wants to tangle with that fight, get that key item at the end if it's not a Valthalis, and see where it goes from there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a question, and that's really the question that you have to do. And this is what I think I really enjoy about these flag sets. You know, previous Three Zone was fantastic. It gave you a different set of calculations. This is very, very different than anything else that we've necessarily seen in all of the free enterprise tournaments that are out there. I like it. You have to make adjustments on the fly throughout the entire game. Before, you know, sometimes you had to make some choices early game or mid game, but by the end game, your path was set and you had committed yourself. Now with this, you got to keep thinking through the whole hour and a half, 2 hours, however long it takes you to win.
Very much so. And microKorgs going to stop at Cave Bahamut. Value Cave is in play. microKorgs hoping that cave will either give him a boss or give him a quick pigtail.
And yeah, chat's pointing out, yeah, it's still possible. We don't know. I'm still holding out hope for Val at that package spot, by the way.
microKorgs checking chests down in Cave Bahamut. There are some trap chests down here. Could still be looking at gaining a couple levels.
No, there's no trap chest in Cave Bahamut. There is a nice grind spot here on this top floor. Using a siren can get you 2 King Ryus. We know this is the elements fight actually at Bahamut because we had Rubicante earlier. He was in the crystal room where you normally get the legend sword. So this we know is elements. We have part-time leg, folks.
Yep, and this would be a really nice place to grind if we had any sirens. No sirens have showed up yet. No Bacchuses have showed up yet. microKorgs did not check that moon shop.
You might be thinking to yourself, we have both a Yang and a Sin who are capable of surviving a Big Bang. Fu is doing all right. You're close to end game levels already, so you may not even be concerned about a grind if you're already expecting to have to fight a lot of bosses.
That is true, and that kind of plays into the strategy as well. If you're only going to face check bosses, maybe you get levels where you can. But if you're planning on slugging it out and looking for that pink tail or for that earth crystal, then you can easily get the couple of levels you need to top off your party just from doing that.
Do see trying to keep Edward alive. Edward is equipped with that spoon. Can do some damage if he lives.
Oh, there's Valvalis. Does this count?
Negative. This does not count as Val.
No. No, I've tried. I've tried pleading and begging. Doesn't work.
All right, there's some levels, and for our key item from the elements at Bahamut, nice.
Yeah, what? Why not? This is the seed thumbing its nose at us a little bit.
Worth noting that microKorgs didn't hard reset out of that, went ahead through the fanfare, kept the defense sword, and more importantly, the experience. So that does lend itself to the belief that Korgs is probably doing all right on levels and might intend to just fight bosses through here instead of just face checking bosses.
Yeah, still needs some levels on that Eddie especially. If he wants to make anything useful out of him. And there are those sirens. And Korgs is gonna sell anything that's not nailed down here.
He's got enough stuff. He should be pretty good to go. And yeah, it's like, hey, I just need like 3 or 4. I'm cool. I don't need like a stack of 20.
King Ryu fights are what you take. Sirens on the moon. I hope my food don't break. Sirens on the moon.
All right, so we are checking. It'd be interesting if another white mage was going to be here.
Oh! Moon Rosa.
So yeah, you're. Oh.
Very interesting.
That's not what I expected.
No, we were. I think we were kind of on the same mindset that microKorgs was planning on using that Sid as the anchor. With that no longer available, who anchors his party? Do you get Cecil up to level 44, 45, let him go off on that 28 agility and be your anchor? Or do you put the curse ring on Fu? Does that do well enough?
Yeah, I mean, you could curse Fu. I mean, depending on what you're trying to use Rosa for, keeping her at a low level isn't the worst idea. Just get her like maybe one Siren worth of experience, get her enough to learn Berserk and say, nah, yeah, and then you're going to be my anchor and take a nap. That way she can Zerk someone and then still be useful. Maybe. I don't like this is kind of a hard one to predict at this point in time.
Right. One thing the seed has done is let our runners down so many goose chases that they could have had 5 different strategies at various times. Well, if I get this one item here, here's what I'm going to do. So they could be on the plan C or D at this point.
And I think this is one of the things that I love about speedrunning randomizers, because it's not just about muscle memory, doing things as quickly as you possibly can and just letting it go. It's doing things as quickly as you can, but you have to think on the fly, because it's never going to be the same thing twice.
SuperNinTaylor took care of the Mom Bomb at Odin spot. Did waste a Star Veil on the Wyvern fight, but that's okay. He'll get through that.
Looks like microKorgs just pulled a double life glitch there. I think it's worth explaining the life glitch a little bit, because I think we still have some newer runners that are in, or some new folks who are in our chat.
Sure, I can do that.
Yeah, go for it, Sheep.
So when you use a life potion on either a character or an enemy, the HP that you have when you wake up is based on your agility. It's based on your vitality. All enemies in this game have 0 vitality. That's just how they are. So if you use a life potion on a dead enemy, the enemy resurrects but has 0 HP, so they die again. So in effect, if you use a life potion on a dead enemy, you get double the experience. And microKorgs, in fact, got triple experience on that for using 2 life potions on that. So it's a quick way to get extra levels, get extra experience. A nice little glitch in the vanilla game that we've kept for quality of life purposes in the randomizer.
Yeah, the real trick to the life glitch, obviously, is that you have to be able to target the character with a life potion, which is typically only available, right as it's been hit and fading away. Sometimes you can set things up for a double, but no, it's absolutely kind of a fantastic and key way that we help our levels go up quite a bit quickly.
Yeah, it's all about timing. It's all about knowing when your characters are going to show up, because if you wait too long after the enemy dies, you can't target them anymore, and then the life potion it misses or it hits something you don't want it to hit. So timing, as in life, it's important in Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise.
Yeah, worth noting that you can't do it on all enemies. Any sort of undead enemy, it won't necessarily work because undead. And then any enemy with the boss fit, I don't believe it works as well. Or does it?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Like, you can't life glitch any of the Magus sisters, for example, I don't believe.
microKorgs heads into the vanilla ribbon room and finds Mylon and friends.
That does come out to every 4 piece of the elements fight possible, except for the one we want.
But get his sluggers berserked. Mylon and friends, especially with these levels, not especially threatening. Mylon's big magic attack is lit 1, which is a joke up here. Can hit fairly hard, but especially with all the gas down, should be able to recover.
So SuperNinTaylor, I think at this point, is down to just that antlion that's at Leviathan spot at this point, I believe.
Yeah, unless SuperNinTaylor decides to make a Galaxy Brain package or Mega Sisters boss check, he knows that Antlion's the only place to go. Well, he will know as soon as he gets this tower key check wrapped up.
I still want someone to be the hero to go check the package boss. Just because.
1/37th of the time, it works every time.
All the levels gained by Rosa. I think I saw Cure 4 in there, so Rosa officially has what we're looking for. Nothing, though.
Just stuff. And microKorgs already started Marie Kondoing his inventory, doesn't need any more stuff. Although that elixir could be useful.
I'm going to say, at bare minimum, that elixir sparks joy.
Although I believe they are for sale. Could be wrong about that.
All right, Evil Wall, located in a relatively low HP spot in the White Lance location.
Yeah, there are worse places for this Evil Wall. Definitely a wall inside a dark room. Certainly hurts your claustrophobia, but boss-wise should be able to be taken care of.
All right, SuperNinTaylor onto the antlion fight. And, yep, one Tella is getting one shot.
Yeah, without that Sid, doesn't have many, and with that Cecil in the front row, gonna have a little bit tougher time using those Cecil cover strats. Gonna have to find another way around.
This is why I think that initial Dwarf Axe is so important, because it immediately allows you, let's not even mess with bow and arrows. Let's let Cecil sit in the back row and cover everyone. And after that, oh, there we go.
microKorgs is in go mode, finds that pink tail.
Not find Valvalis. And I don't know if we're going to see Val at any point in time now, unless SuperNinTaylor starts hunting. That's go mode for microKorgs. He's going to go down, turn that pink tail in, will be the 4th objective, and I think his levels are fine. He'll be able to just immediately pass up to Z.
Yeah, microKorgs, I think, is okay with his levels. That Rosa is up to Cure 4, which is enough for what she needs to do at Z. You don't need to grind her up to white for this fight, I don't think. So microKorgs is on his way. Now,
right.
if Tail gave an Avenger, I think microKorgs would be super thrilled with that.
It'd be just perfect. Here is the crystal, of course, which is our final item required in order to convert Zeromus into his final form. Oh, hey, how about a crystal sword? Would you like a crystal sword?
I'll take that. I mean, it's not an Avenger, but I'll take it. Crystal Sword, the most overpowered weapon in this game. Cecil is going to be hitting Zeromus right where it hurts, in the face.
Yeah, and he Crystal Sword, Power Shirt. Yeah, he's set up very, very well at this point in time. Getting everyone else ready to roll. Does look like his food is going to be his anchor at this point in time.
SuperNinTaylor got through that antlion very nicely. Only Cecil up at the end, but that Cecil was swinging very hard, got some illusions up on him. SuperNinTaylor has his Darkness Crystal. Well done from him.
Of course, we mentioned earlier when we were talking about the heart music, we're a randomizing community. We like to randomize things. Zeromus was always a challenge in part because, it's the end boss. You want to set him up to be the end boss and have at least some consistency at the end, but you still want to randomize something about him. So when you use the crystal to unveil his true colors, well, that sprite has been randomized as well. So the question from chat, these Z flags, is whose butt are we going to kick tonight? It could be one of over 525 different sprites, of course, curated by that same wonderful community, in particular Scala Kitty. We'll see who we're up against.
Yes, our wonderful restreamer does it all, really, and especially does most of the Z sprites, the artwork for it, which you'll be able to see one of the examples in a moment here. Also want to thank our tracker Hupfin for clicking a lot of buttons today, and we're about to see whose butt will appear.
Chaos.
Yes.
I think this is one of the original sprites, actually.
I think so as well. Scala Kitty saying it is from Boardface, the programmer of Free Enterprise. Yeah, one of the OGs here. So microKorgs will have to dodge the barrels and climb up ladders.
Well, SuperNinTaylor getting his Darkness Crystal, going to the moon here directly. Got to imagine he knows at this point. Yeah, it's all on the moon. Everything's on the moon. This has been kind of an interesting seed. I don't know if I've seen a race yet, and I could be wrong, that the 3 static objectives were all what was completed. One of the variables wasn't.
Yeah, the Valvalis, we mentioned she's kind of aloof. It turns out she didn't want to see anybody at all, really.
I sincerely hope that once these runners are complete, that they have gone back and checked, because honestly, I'm just dying to know at this point in time. Where is Val?
microKorgs putting out huge damage on this Donkey Kongimus.
Yep, Crystal Sword Cecil does very, very well. I mean, even Spoonward does pretty well here if he can live.
Yeah, that's the problem with the Spoonward. Eddie puts out tons of damage. That Spoon, 255 attack power. The only problem is giving him enough HP that he can survive an unnerved Big Bang, which is pretty much impossible.
He's doing 10,000 damage per round. He's just, this fight's going to be over quick.
Yeah, that crystal sword, that spoon, overpowered weapons doing work. Might not even see another big bang. He will.
Oof. I mean, that was a strong big bang, but
It
Seth's
was.
still up. I got to imagine. Yeah, there's Meteor. Rocks are already falling.
And that Cecil will survive it. Rosa dodged it. microKorgs is home free.
And there's the flash and the shake.
microKorgs is the winner. The time of 1:52.27, moves to 1-0 in the Swiss round, gets 3 points for his effort. microKorgs is your winner today.
We'll see if microKorgs is going to be available to join us in the booth here before too long. Meanwhile, SuperNinTaylor is getting the Rosa. What are you doing? Are you going to make the same choice? No. And
Gonna leave Bay behind.
Yeah, interesting decision. I mean, I can understand it. Meanwhile, we are joined in the booth now by microKorgs. GG.
Thank you very much. That was a fun seed to run.
Yeah, so what did you think of Valvalis being so hard to find?
I didn't mind it at all. I was willing to take her on if she was saying Ribbon Room or Masamune, but I was very pleased to get the wall where the wall was at the levels I was at, and then of course have that lead to go mode was satisfying way to end it. And a bonus prize from the Pinktail tournament.
That's one thing I wanted to ask you about, because I know I've been struggling with it, a bit of a change from 3-miss zone. How do you balance out when it's one key item that you're looking for versus one boss that you're looking for? Do you lean one way or the other depending on what checks are available, or did you consider face checking bosses just to see if Val was up there, or what's your thought process there?
Face checking bosses wasn't on my mind, except for Bahamut, which I just ended up taking anyway, just in case I could steal the Pinktail from it. I mainly just wanted to, after Bahamut, just die for density and just hope that one of those first couple checks ended up being pink. And then if it wasn't, I would have done, the traditional route from there to Masamune back to Crystal. I just would have gone back up, and then at that point, if there was no Val, I'm pretty sure I would have had the hook, because I think that would have been all the checks. It took a while to find that darkness.
Yeah, as with so many other things, it's in the last place you look. Your routing underground was very interesting to me. You went up Keyless Tower as soon as you got underground. You checked the sealed cave with the Luca key before you even went down into the Fey March. What was your thought process there?
I knew I had the coffins, and I saw the coffinable bosses, and I said, well, let's give it a quick shot. It was a pretty big disappointment to get the Rune Axe, and I almost reset, but I knew Magus Sisters and Asura was still out there, and I had the Cecil. And even though it wasn't really necessary for the Baron fight, it was fun to mess with the Magus Sisters turn order there and have them flame themselves. So that was kind of a disappointment. I think the sealed cave led to Baron to Rat to Sand Ruby, something like that. So that to me then just pointed me, obviously to Antline. There weren't many checks left, but I felt a lot more comfortable about doing that Antline once Fu was on the table.
Let's talk a little bit about that early game. We had the first bottleneck getting through Octomom, which Octomom at Rubicon is not always easy. You did have Cecil that kind of got you through there, but the early game really didn't give us a whole lot of direction.
No, it was fun. I think we had Forge before we went down Hook, right? I think both pieces were on the overworld.
Yep.
So I knew I had a great weapon waiting for me as soon as I get through it. I did spend some time. I didn't check every shop, but I checked a few extra shops I might normally not, just hoping for a Thunderclaw just to make Octo a little quicker, a little easier. But I wasn't too concerned because I could, because of the cover strat possibility, and that would allow me to use Tella with the lit 3s. So I think the fight before that could have been smoother. Oh yeah, Pale Dim. I just forget how hard that hits, and I didn't really have anything that could target the weakness there.
So this was your first race in the Lali-Ho League. With this race and with your seeds that you've been doing on your own, what are kind of your impressions of the flag set and how you want to attack it going forward?
Oh, I really enjoy this flag set. I love that. My opening move is basically selling 6 or 7 rune rings. I like just being able to get, especially if Baron has like Star Veils and Light Potions and Cure 2s all in the same place, just kind of getting that out of the way if possible. It took me a while this seed. I was getting kind of a Life Potion anxiety because I couldn't find them for a while. And I actually think what happened was I checked Mysidia for a Thunderclaw before Hook, but I didn't check the item shop, and I think that's where the Life Potions ended up being. So I like having a stack. It's kind of a security blanket. I like to wrap myself up in Life Potions, and I couldn't do that for a while. But yeah, I like the flags a lot. I've been playing it a ton. I join every pickup race that that makes sense. I've been playing a lot of the asyncs, and I just again, it's been about a year since I've been playing this game, and I play it all the time, and I enjoy it just as much as when I started.
That's fantastic, and I, for one, am hoping that I don't get you in the second round. So, yeah.
There are no good options in the second round, no matter whether you're 1-0 or 0-1. Just the amount of talented runners that matched up in the first round. One of them goes to that 0-1 pool, and the other one is 1-0, and that's just the way Swiss works at the beginning. So yeah, I mean, whoever I get matched up with, I know it's going to be a very difficult race, and I'll have to race my best.
Well, I know you don't know who you're going to be matched up with yet, but do you have any threats for them? Do you have any taunts for them? Come on, hype it up a little bit.
All right, Dia, are you out there? I'm coming for you, Dia. I'm going to go to every shop. I'm going to buy every item. I'm going to loot every chest because I know Dia doesn't do those things, and I'll either beat her because of those items or I'll lose by 45 minutes. So how's that? You think Dia's scared now?
I don't know, but that was an amazing fight. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, please, randomness. Please don't match me up against Dia.
You're off mic to say that.
No way. No, there's no. I'm scared of everyone. I'm absolutely terrified of everyone.
Well, you certainly showed us why opponents should be scared of you with a terrific run. Vatasia, do you have any other questions for microKorgs?
No, none. Just just asking any final thoughts before we let you go here.
I just want to thank all of you for doing all the work. Hupfin for tracking, Skylakitty for the restream, and of course being the admin glue that's holding everything together, and you too, Sheep Launcher and Vatasia. I don't know if I should spoil it, but I did see Sheep Launcher. I believe your Z Sprite that was recently unveiled. That is astoundingly great and brings back a lot of memories from playing a certain game in the late 90s, I think.
Yeah, one that people might be able to get from my handle. All credit for that goes to Skylakitty, but I'm glad it got to play to such an audience, and it's available on YouTube for.
It's so great, and yeah, it just makes me. I wish instead of ninja hats and ninja swords, we had ninja ropes and free enterprise. But I guess. Oh, April Fool's is coming up.
Ooh.
All right. Thank you so much for restreaming today, and enjoy the rest of your day.
GG against the microKorgs. SuperNinTaylor, meanwhile, took out Baigan at the Vanilla Pale Dim spot, got that Earth Crystal, Also took out the ribbon room, got the elixir and dragoon helm that were in there. So doing a full clear of the moon, it appears not going to chase that earth crystal at this point.
As someone who very recently left the moon going chasing something and it didn't pay off, I like this play. Just let's go ahead, play it safe, clear the moon.
And SuperNinTaylor should get the good news soon that that this evil wall will contain the pink tail. So, did not take that Rosa, has 2 old men, a bard, a paladin, and a punch mage. Looking at the HP totals, are these Z levels, you think, Patasia?
I think your Cecil and Young will be fine. I'm really worried about Edward's, viability, how long he'll be able to survive. You're going to have to be very careful nerfing the big bangs, which the first one is relatively easy to do. You cast a spell on whoever Zeromus is very early in the fight. Everyone else, though, after that, you kind of need to time it immediately for a spell to hit after a shape. It's going to be tough. A bad big bang or missing that could see all 3 of your casters go down, and just 2 melee fighters, not really enough to carry you through only 2 or 3 big bangs.
Although if when Taylor does get that crystal sword, that's as close as you're going to be able to get to 2 melee fighters carrying you through.
True, absolutely. And Fu has close to 2,000. That's kind of what I try to hit, about 2,000 HP before I'm comfortable. Other runners can do it much, much better than I can, obviously. NinTaylor does have to reset out. That wall got just a little too close and was smacking people around.
Yeah, evil wall, never easy really in any spot, especially Rude up here. Got some big hits off. He's going to get after it again. So to step back and talk about the tournament while Taylor hopefully wraps up this evil wall for a second. Even though Taylor is going to be 0-1, it's certainly not over. The Swiss round is 6 different match days. I believe to move on to the bracket round, you have to win at least 3 of your matches. 4? What's the number?
That's a good question, because I know we just hit 6 at the very end. We got just enough people for the 6th round. So yeah, you have to win 4 of your 6. So a first round loss, might not be all that bad. Ironically, if you end up being paired up with more people who have more losses, so you can get some easier wins than what I'm sure just the buzzsaw is going to be like at the top end. So it's really interesting how it'll play out and what's going to happen. 4 wins, even getting 3 wins with the quality of speedrunners we have in the community as a whole will be impressive. Getting 4 wins, if you make it to bracket stages, it will be an accomplishment.
Yeah, but as microKorgs was saying in his interview, there were some really powerful matchups in this first Swiss round where even the people who are 0-1 are not slouches. So there's a chance to get paired up with, I don't know, a Dream of Stone semifinalist in the 0-1 pool. It's going to be rough out there. An opening round loss isn't fatal by any means, but microKorgs will certainly feel better about getting a win under his belt.
No, absolutely. You never... 1 loss, you're all right. 2 losses, you're starting to sweat a little bit. 3 losses, you're out. So, absolutely. Anytime you can dodge a loss, even if it's in the first round, better. Again, not the end of the world, though.
Nope, and Taylor's been showing with his expertise that he should be formidable going forward as well. Just got a little caught up on a couple of bosses today, just a couple steps behind.
I should say SuperNinTaylor is also one of those. I mean, not only is he a fantastic member of this community, but SuperNinTaylor also runs many other games in speedrunning. So he may not have the niche sort of expertise that some of our other runners do, but he is very adaptable at being able to switch things up, probably much more so than a lot of our other more experienced runners at this point in time. So he's going to be a dangerous runner. You know, maybe shaking off a little bit of rust this week. He's going to be dangerous moving forward.
Very much so. You can see the talent he has. What other games does he run? Is he a Link to the Past guy?
I believe he's a Link to the Past guy, but I think he does even more speed runs outside of that. I've checked out his stream a few different times, and he's run, you know, the diversity of games that he runs is quite a bit more than I think a lot of people in the community.
While SuperNinTaylor will turn in his pink tail and get his crystal sword and get his crystal before he heads up to Zeromus, wanted to take this opportunity. Hope you've enjoyed this restream. It's all brought to you by our restreamer Scala Kitty and our tracker Hupfin, who can, after this, put her feet up and enjoy the ending along with us. And thanks to my partner up here in the booth, Vitasia, this certainly has been a lot of fun.
Now, this is the perfect way to start the weekend, I think. We were talking about brunch and mimosas earlier. Now we're getting back into the lazy part of the Saturday afternoon. This is the perfect way to start my weekend, with a little bit of Lali-Ho League.
Yeah, and there's no reason why your weekend of Lali-Ho League has to stop here. There are matches all throughout this weekend. Why don't you vamp for a minute, Vitasia, while I pull it up?
Why don't I what now?
Vamp? You know, just talk.
No, okay. I'm good at the talking at that point. I was trying to pull up the schedule as well. Looks like checking out some agility levels. 16 agility on Tella at the middle. Level 47, middle row Cecil. I think he'll be doing all right. Oh, yeah, Vamp. I was like, I've never. What?
So while SuperNinTaylor sets up 2 p.m. Eastern on the Free Enterprise channel, that's coming up in a little over a half hour. We have Aizen Tayama versus Penguinator. That should be a heavyweight battle coming up at 8 Eastern on Free Enterprise. It's Aegis versus Twisted Flax. And on Randomania 3, I believe, at 9 p.m. Eastern, Cubs Rule 21 versus Infinius. A full day of Free Enterprise Lali-Ho League for you.
Absolutely. That Aizen Tayama and Penguinator race is going to be absolutely fantastic. And I know I'm going to just maybe go pop a bag of popcorn and then tune right back in. I don't know if you can hype that one up. Both runners, long time runners in the community, 2 very experienced runners in this game. Penguinator, I think, has even won a couple tournaments that are out there.
Yeah, and if you need another reason to be hyped for that, commentators on that, Flurry 14 and PK 4787, the mortal frenemies together again.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Scala City. He won Highway to the Zenith, our second major tournament at that point in time. Oh my goodness. Yeah, those are great. And then Flurry and PK, those were our 2 finalists in Highway to the 3 Zone, weren't they?
Flurry was a finalist. Dusty Griff won the whole thing. PK, I believe, was a quarter finalist, semi-finalist?
Quarter finalist or semi-finalist. Yeah.
SuperNinTaylor heading into this Z fight. We'll see the monkey staring down the barrel at him. And as a reminder, those are the restreamed broadcasts. There are also other matches going on that are on Twitch of the individual runners that you can pull up using some dark magic known as Khadgar or something to host them side by side. So a full day of free enterprise.
Absolutely. The complete list of all the matches that even aren't being restreamed are available over on our Discord. Again, if you haven't joined us over at Discord, please feel free. If you're just a fan of the league, or you're a fan of the randomizer, or, if you haven't and itching to fire one up yourself for the first time, come on over to the Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise Discord, and the Lali-Ho League site as well. Also lists all the matches. It's just a fantastic, honestly, one of the best internet communities that is out there that exists. I know that's a high bar, but there's a reason that so many of us love this community, and it's because the community itself is just fantastic.
Very much so.
I mean, Scala Kitty puts up with me and my bad jokes, so I mean, that's got to count for something.
Yeah, Scala Kitty signed up to deal with both of us on a Saturday morning, so her tolerance for pain's got to be through the roof. SuperNinTaylor gonna get the HP ran out on that Tella. Sure, Scala, tell us a bad joke. For people who are viewing, I love spoiling the plot of Dorian Gray. Never gets old.
Ooh, okay. Well done. Meanwhile, SuperNinTaylor is running. I mean, Eddie's trying to do a little bit of work, but Crystal Sword Cecil go burr. As long as Fu and Cecil stay alive, we'll be in fine shape.
Yeah, anything that Yang and Eddie can contribute at this point will just be gravy. The most important thing is to keep that Cecil and that Fu standing, and keep that Cecil swinging in particular.
There's the Big Bang. Tried to get an item off on Eddie to nerf the Big Bang. Missed it, though. Luckily, Fu lived through a full power Big Bang. It's down to 3.
Fu back up to over 1800. That Big Bang roll was very kind of Fu. Only 1350 or so. We'll have to re-zerk up that Cecil. Gonna play it safe and use that Cure 4. Was thinking about trying to get that Eddie back up. I think that would be that'd be a luxury that can't quite afford at this point.
Oh, love. Oh. So the scene was about transforming a moon key items into a mon key. We're surrounded by people who are doing our jobs for us at this point in time, because I can just be reading chat and that's it.
Gorilla over the edge.
Chat's going bananas. Thank you guys. I really appreciate you doing my job for me and just letting me read. It's fantastic. Another big bang. We'll
Yeah,
see.
try to get that virus off to nerf it, not in time again. It's really hard to time the big bangs on Zeromas after the first.
Oh, and the virus will trigger a counter nuke, and this. Okay, it's not on Cecil. That means, yeah, Zerk up and just keep those two alive.
And Fusoya, if you have an elixir in your inventory, which I'm pretty sure he does, now would be a great time for it. Fusoya is running really low on MP, needs that HP refill anyway. Just bite the bullet and use that elixir now.
And his priority is getting damage out. Oh, and a nuke to Cecil's face.
Should be able to survive it.
Yeah, but you get...
vulnerable to the next big bang.
The problem is, and Fu doesn't have enough MP to get a direct Cure 4 off next.
He has 5 elixirs, going to use one of them right now. And we'll see if he has enough time to get a Cure 4 off before either Rocks or the next big bang.
It'll be tight. Oh, just got the shake. Okay. This is clutch. This is about as tight as it gets here on a Z fight.
2-man show, gets that elixir off. Will both characters be standing?
19 health left. Oh my goodness.
HP runs out. He does! What a clutch elixir.
Worried about a black hole here coming up directly, because we've gone through a couple big bangs. Oh no, a shake. Cecil's just still sawing wood there, doing enough damage to avoid the virus phase, which is good.
And there are Rocks. Couple more swings from Cecil. Fusoya dodges for good measure. And even though it might have left him on the edge of his seat, SuperNinTaylor should be able to get through this.
Yeah, just kind of letting Meteo and Cecil trade blows at this point in time.
And
Swag nuke.
Swag nuke to the face.
Swag nuke kill.
SuperNinTaylor gets it done, coming in second place with a time of 2:20.12. A very nice recovery on that Z fight. GG's to SuperNinTaylor.
We'll see if SuperNinTaylor is available for a quickie interview here. Otherwise, just this was one of those races that I still want to know where that Val is. Honestly,
I'm very curious about where that Val is. So, could be on the Giant, could be at her vanilla spot, could be in Magus Sisters, could be on the Ogopogo altar or at the Wyvern spot. But, enough idle speculating. We are joined by SuperNinTaylor. That was quite a clutch Z fight. Taylor, GG's.
Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, I had to switch it over. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, that was pretty clutch. Little scary.
we were scared for you. We thought for sure there'd be another big bang, especially with that Fu at, single-digit health for a second.
Yeah, I'm still not very practiced in the Zeromus fight. I'm not very practiced in this game in general. I've been trying to grind a bit in preparation for the tournament. It's still a lot I need to learn, but I feel like I've learned a lot along the way.
Yeah, and we can certainly see that you ran a good race, just a little bit behind microKorgs today. One of the early spots that gave you trouble was that a tricky Golbez in the Baron Inn. What were your thoughts on that?
Oh man, I was like, am I just gonna keep banging my head against the wall, wasting time here? Like, I wanted to get it done, so I just didn't want to leave it and go to ordeals, then find out I can't even do that, then go back to Baron, and then I don't know. I wanted to get it done. I knew it was a 50-50 depending on who Golbez attacked, and he kept attacking the guy I was trying to use my Star Veil on. I'm wondering if I was doing something wrong with the Cursed Ring, because I think the Cursed Ring takes away more agility than my character had, so I don't know if that, like, putting someone at negative agility does something bad. I don't know. I just wasn't fast enough for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, that can have some interesting effect. I think for you, SuperNinTaylor, when you say you don't necessarily know a whole lot about the game, I think I absolutely would like you to go back and rewatch this, because you and microKorgs had very, very similar routing, I think, throughout most of the game. It was just he had a lot cleaner boss fights and one-shot a lot of different things. So I think you'll learn a lot by rewatching this one.
There were a few different times where I was like, I could have done that differently. Because I think, I didn't have a Boreas or whatever it's called in my inventory, did I? So I was thinking about that at one time. There's one fight where I was like, if I used that, the fight would have gone a lot faster. But I don't know if I had the item now that I think about it.
Well, one fight that you that we thought you did a superb job on was that Antlion fight in the Leviathan spot that was required to get you up.
Oh, that was a nail biter. That was luck.
Well, sometimes luck is all you need.
Yeah.
But Cecil was able to YOLO his way through that. Was that your play going in?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, if I failed that, my next strategy was just going to be to prioritize the blinks first before I get that Berserk off. I think that early Berserk was pretty ambitious. It worked, luckily, but I think the safer play would have been to get those blinks off and then start dishing out the damage. And then I can have more people up to maintain the cures to keep everyone alive. Yeah, I'm glad it worked out. I was hoping that was some area that maybe he would have struggled on. I mean, he's raced a ton, so he's obviously got a lot of experience, but I was like, hopefully he's getting stuck on some boss. I don't know. Can only hope.
Yeah, that's what I hope during all my races, that somehow my opponent is struggling against something that I bounded with. So, how much do you hate Valvalis right now for hiding?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's a blessing in disguise I didn't find her, because I probably would have struggled with that as well. I'm guessing, did we run into her? Did Micro find her?
No, we're just dying to know.
Yeah, I'm guessing probably on the giant then, right? But I guess no one checked the Massinian spot, right? I don't think anyone would have checked that.
So nobody checked Ogopogo, nobody checked Wyvern, nobody checked the package boss, nobody checked the giant, nobody checked the tower. So
I might go back eventually and check if I'm curious enough.
Hey, DM us if you ever find out.
Yeah. Alright.
Well, other than that, SuperNinTaylor, what are your, any final thoughts on the tournament as a whole or this seed?
Tournament as a whole, I'm enjoying it. I haven't done much speed running or even streaming in general in a while. I was listening to a bit of the end during the 15-minute wait period, and you were talking about me running other games. Link to the Past was actually my main game. I did run that a lot. I kind of got burned out from that game. I haven't played that in like a year now, so that was one of the reasons I wanted to join this tournament, just kind of like a breath of fresh air, starting something new. Things seem to be more exciting when you're in the process of learning, and you know that like every time you practice, you're getting better and better. Like you can see results, and I find that fun. Link to the Past is like kind of hit close to a ceiling, and it's just I'm not really moving. I do consistently well, but I don't know. I just got burned out after a while. But other than that, yeah, I've done a little bit of Super Metroid speedrunning, Mega Man X. I did a short Final Fantasy VI speedrun. But yeah, I've really been enjoying this one, and I wanna keep playing this one for a while. I think I'll enjoy it.
Well, good. We're happy to have you in the tournament, and like we were saying, even though you're 0-1, you still got chances to advance and to keep playing a long time. So, best of luck in your future matches, and GG's again.
Yeah, thanks for commentating, guys. I'll look forward to watching it back.
Awesome. That was, of course, SuperNinTaylor. Make sure to give him and our winner, microKorgs, a follow if you aren't already following them here on Twitch. One last shout out to both Scala Kitty and Hupfen behind the scenes doing the restream and the tracking for us. And of course, my co-commentator, Sheep Launcher. It's always a pleasure working with you.
Yes, always with you as well, Batasia. You taste great like sugary cereal, but you're not nearly as teeth-rotting.
I mean, I'm not good for your health. I will absolutely admit that. I'm one of those things like, okay, you think it's a great idea on a Saturday morning, but you're going to pay for it by the afternoon. I promise you.
So we mentioned before the extremely hype match of Aizen Tayama and Penguinator. That's going to start in about 15 minutes on Free Enterprise. We're just going to take you right there. We're just going to chill with some awesome Final Fantasy IV music. So hang around with us for Aizen Tayama and Penguinator. We'll take you there.
Have a great rest of your afternoon, everyone, and we'll see you at the next race here directly.